Thoughtful Connections, a memory care podcast, aims to provide general information and insights about dementia and related topics. The content shared is not intended to be medical advice or a substitute for professional medical or clinical guidance. The purpose or goal of this podcast series is to help inform and educate family members considering memory care for a loved one. Coming to you live from the Hayden Allen Wild Center for the Arts on the CADDCT College campus in Nevada, Missouri. With us, as always, is Elizabeth Thompson, Arrow Senior Living Senior Regional Director of Memory Care. Welcome. I'm Charlie Johnson, your host. Well, hello, Elizabeth. You are looking great as always.
Oh, thanks. Are you going to make a joke or something here in a minute?
I can be serious. And,
okay.
I'm being serious right now.
Okay.
All right.
And, thank you.
You know, I was looking at the topic for today, and I was a little hesitant because I have been known to have wandering thoughts, and my wife tells me that I have hoarding tendencies.
Oh, well.
In fact, she reminds me of that every time she goes to the garage.
God bless June.
And then I realized that we're going to narrow it down to wandering and hoarding in dementia care.
Yes, and I'm really glad that we're talking about this because this can be very distressing to caregivers if they don't understand.
You know, so I'm wondering about wandering, and so let's start with that. What causes someone with dementia to wander so much?
Multiple reasons. It can be because they're bored, because they're looking for something, maybe an unmet need, like I need to find the bathroom, or I need to find the kitchen because I'm hungry. It can also be anxiety that can cause wandering. I think it's important that we, our podcast is to help people who are still living at home with the disease process and considering memory care. So wandering in a community isn't always a bad thing, but wandering at home, that's where we have to make sure that the person is safe. Because if they are getting outside the home, that could be dangerous.
And so it's not just walking around. It sounds like it's actually a form of communication.
Absolutely.
And so depending on where that person is in that particular moment in their journey, that they could be literally going anywhere or doing anything.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what can caregivers do to reduce the risk of wandering?
So again, I think protecting safety is number one. In a community, wandering isn't necessarily a bad thing. Want to check in and say, where are you headed? Or can I help you find something? Because maybe they are looking for a bathroom or needing something. But creating routines and structure throughout the day is going to help tremendously, making sure that they're not bored. But the other side of that is if they're just walking, that's great exercise. And that's something that they need to do anyway. So just keep an eye from a distance and make sure that they're safe, but let them get their exercise in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's good info.
Yeah.
I can also imagine it's important not to shame or to scold anyone if they're wandering, right?
Yeah, reassurance, not correction. Meet them with curiosity. Where are you headed? What you looking for? Can I go with you? Is always a good one too, because usually they'll say, sure, I'd love your company type thing. So, if you are concerned, there are different GPS trackers and things like that for people who are still living at home. You just want to maintain dignity, where that's concerned as far as you don't want to take away their rights to walk and to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if they are living at home, giving them areas that they can explore and rummage through. Whether it's boxes of old books or magazines, knowing that person and what they're interested in is going to help tremendously.
So make a wandering zone.
Yeah. Well, like you think about our memory care neighborhoods at Arrow Senior Living are typically in a square, and there's life stations throughout the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So they can be, as they're walking and wandering, they can pass by the nursery and maybe reminisce with the babies. They can wander by the workbench and, fiddle with some sandpaper and wood blocks, or the garden station or the pet station. Those are all great places to explore.
So would you say that wandering maybe is one of the most common behaviors of individuals with dementia?
Yes. And one thing that I can say about dementia is just because a person has dementia doesn't mean that they don't have curiosity. That is actually something that sticks around for a long time.
Okay.
So that curious piece. So sometimes they'll say, well, why is, this resident wandering into my mom's apartment and going through her stuff? Well, they're not stealing. They're not trying to break in.
Right.
They're curious.
Sure.
What's in here? What's in these drawers? I've not seen this before. I want to check it out.
So on the flip side, so if someone doesn't wander at all, is it safe to believe that they are content and their needs are being met?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
As the disease progresses, some people aren't as mobile as they used to be. And sitting, we still need to check in.
Okay. So we wandered. Now let's talk about hoarding. So why is it that some people with dementia start collecting or even hiding things? Well, talk to me about that.
So I would like to share a story because I think it will help kind of explain why some people hoard. For one, it's about maintaining control in a world that they are losing control in. But also, I had a gentleman who was a cook in the Army. And had I not known this, his hoarding of forks would not have made much sense. But after every meal, he would take all the forks and put them under his pillow. So in talking to his family, being in the Army, you got what you got. You couldn't go to Walmart and buy more silverware. So you were very protective of making sure you got all your forks and spoons back. And he was a cook and did dishes in the Army. So it was important for him to make sure that he kept those things so that they didn't get lost and we wouldn't run out. So his hoarding was just going back into his past and reliving what he used to do. Hoarding isn't always a negative thing. I had another resident who would always take things from her meal that she didn't finish and put them in her purse because she believed she was at a restaurant and she was going to take her leftovers home to her dog. She no longer had her dog and she wasn't at a restaurant. She was in memory care, but that's okay. We just knew to go in afterwards and make sure that we took that out of her purse because, having a cheeseburger in your purse is not a good thing.
Or at least not for an extended time.
Right. And you wouldn't want her to eat it either later.
Right. Okay. All right. So it's not necessarily a bad habit like what I have necessarily, but it sounds like it's more like a coping mechanism for those that are living with dementia.
And part of their previous routine.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk back to caregivers, which we always want to include the caregivers in this. So how should they respond to hoarding in the best supportive way? So
definitely avoid confrontation. You don't ever want to scold someone that's hoarding who's living with dementia. They're not a child and they don't realize that they're doing something wrong. Keeping them safe, again, is always first priority. But if it's something that you can go back and collect later when they're not there, do that. For my gentleman that collected the forks, he was always very big into chair volleyball. And so while he was playing chair volleyball, we would go and get the forks and take them to the kitchen and wash them. No big deal. And thankfully, he didn't go looking for them again. Mm-hmm. It just became a repeat thing at the next meal. So, it worked out fine. Same with the lady that put the food in her purse for her dog, just going back later and making sure we retrieved it to keep them safe. One thing that we do see, especially people who are living in independent living with dementia, and that we haven't fully realized that they may need memory care yet, is and this would be something that maybe a family member would see if they are caring for someone who's living with dementia in their own home, of putting things in odd places. So making sure that you are checking what I would call hoarding zones, whether it's drawers or under beds, for those things, so that we can keep them safe, that they're not putting food or milk or something that they would try to drink or eat later that could potentially harm them. And then also, creating those kind of reminisce or hoarding boxes, whatever they're interested in, creating those for them so that they do have those to pilfer through. I think that's very important. It makes them feel like they're in control, gives them some confidence, and knowing that person and what things they like would be key to having those boxes be beneficial or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've come on to something. I'm going to tell June that my garage is my new hoarding zone.
Okay.
And that's beneficial because you said so.
Oh, great.
All right. Okay. So I know it sounds like that, and we've mentioned this in multiple podcasts over and over, that how important it is to meet that individual with where they are in their dementia journey.
Yes.
And that sounds like that's exactly what you just described.
Yeah. Yeah. We know that they're going to do things that may not be normal to us, but it doesn't mean that they're horrible things. We just kind of have to figure out a way to work around it, as to not upset them. And then also just make sure that there's not an unmet need there.
Sure. And be compassionate about it.
Absolutely.
Utilize your empathy and compassion. And again, go slow about it, and don't be scolding your folks. So do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share about either hoarding or anything
I think
else?
we just need to remember that people living with dementia still need to be seen and feel valued. And we don't want to take that away by taking things that they hoard away from them. For whatever reason, they're important to them right at that moment. Right. And
you may never know.
Yeah.
You may never know why something in particular is important to that individual at that particular time.
I had a gentleman that would take all of the napkins also. And what was interesting is he would always put them in our wooden workbench area. He put them in the toolbox and in the drawers. So I always knew where I could find all the cloth napkins, but I never did find out why.
Maybe he thought he needed some rags in the workshop.
Maybe. My husband says I hoard toilet paper.
Okay, there you go. See, you have some tendencies.
Well, I think COVID kind of did a number on me, and that scratchy toilet paper was horrible. So now I'm like, the garage always has.
I think you have your own hoarding zone, is what I think.
I do. It's toilet paper.
All right. See, you've had a free therapy session here today.
Great. I love it. Write you a check later.
All right. Okay. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for shedding some light on these behaviors.
Oh, thanks.
And thank you all for sharing your time with us. At Arrow Senior Living, we believe in the power of a chuckle, maintaining a childlike sense of wonder, and defending the dignity of others. Until next time, this is Charlie Johnson with Arrow's Thoughtful Connections, a memory care podcast, wishing you fond memories filled with moments of joy. And remember, if you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia.
You can find Thoughtful Connections, a memory care podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts.